world of legendary moments will be captured. So stand up, scream, and make sure the boys feel you.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
What is going on, Cowboy Nation? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil. And today we're going to preview, of course, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, I think that's where they're from still. Yeah, they haven't been much in the news, but they are a team. Trust me, they used to be in our division. They used to give us crap. We play them twice a year. But one thing every single time, and not just twice a year, is, of course, our co-host, Gametime Bryan. Gametime, welcome, man. Welcome.
Primetime Phil, what's going on, man? How are you? And I see we got a lively bunch in the chat already. I appreciate it. What's up, man?
It's Saturday. There's college football on, of course. Stuff to make my face smile, and I'm hoping, of course, that we continue this on into tomorrow. And that's what we're here for, is to talk about Dallas Cowboys Sunday football on Saturday. I'm feeling great about this matchup. Of course, we're getting, way that the feelings of the Cowboys started in the beginning of the week is definitely different from what we're feeling towards the end of the week. But, of course, a couple of days ago, we get news. Trevon Diggs goes down for the season. Of course, I'm putting my overlay to kind of give him a little tribute, saying, hey, man, we're with you. And it obviously it makes our team, take a step back in the sense of your guy that likes to pick off the ball and, switch the game around. But when you look at the roster, obviously there's a lot of Cowboy Nation that then looks towards that whole philosophy of the next man up, because you like the next men that are in line, of course. But, of course, this is a big blow for this defense. How did you feel when you, of course, heard that news?
Not good, man. Not good.
Sick to your stomach, yep.
Yeah, it's one of those deals. And, listen, at first and foremost, I'm a Cowboys fan, all right? I take pride in knowing other stuff, but truth be told, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm going to be a little emotional, and I'm going to come out emotionally with it. I'm allowed to have 24 hours of woe is me. There's nothing wrong with that. Just like 24 hours after we win a game, 24 hours after we lose a game. I was not happy at all, and there comes the rain and the wind. Not happy at all. And I was kind of laying into the practice, and we'll get into it. But let's hit the chat a little bit here.
Yeah, I was pointing it out. We had Jason and Lord Nova, of course, talking about what was going on during the week on this broadcast when I put it on here. Of course, we got Jack Meeker in here, Mike Aldana dropping a lot of stuff. Of course, Colorado losing to Oregon, which we talked about Oregon in this broadcast from time to time, but it was definitely nice to see that. Bad for guys that are following, of course, Prime. But I think that program, like you mentioned it, we were talking off the air, and you were mentioning it, a couple of years, once he gets this, he's able to redo his recruiting, man, that's going to be a different team. And I would definitely agree with you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to go out and get all the top guys. You know that. Everybody's going to want to play for Prime.
Mm-hmm.
But
we got Ultra Cowboy. I can see Ultra Cowboy bringing it up. The Eagles lost to the leading MVP candidate in Wentz in 2007 and still won the Super Bowl. QB is more important position. And true, and Bryan, in one of your videos earlier in the week, you talked about the depth of this cornerbacks. That is definitely one of the strongest points that we have in here, safety cornerbacks. What do you think? What are names that are popping up in your head when you think about now the next man up?
Well, everybody, including me, is saying Deron Bland. I love Bland. Just remember, we play a lot of dime coverage. So when we do play dime coverage, which means I believe 6 corners, you're going to play Bland and Jordan Lewis in the slot, which is going to mean, I would assume, Mukwamu is going to step back out. He's a big position flex, got some size. He could play the outside. We have Egbenogany, who we got from Miami, who's an outside corner. He could play some. We got Nashawn Wright still injured, but he's on the way back. We got young rookie Eric Scott. So everybody's assuming Bland's going to play the boundary corner, and I believe he will to start off. But we will see other people there because I think Bland is better in the slot, but we're kind of limited at this point. We have a lot of bodies. I think it's up to us to, try a few. We have a few weeks before the trade deadline. Now's the time. Not that I want to trade, but
when I look at this defensive secondary, there's guys being thrown out. Jack's talking about Eric Scott in the chat. Definitely, I was thinking that too, but there was definitely some times in training camp in the preseason where you were seeing getting beat. So there was a lot of early shows of like an Anthony Brownish kind of guy where, he's going to make a play here and there, but you can still tell that he's really young because he's allowing those bigger plays. So I kind of hold my brakes when it comes to Eric Scott a little bit. But when you look to the next position, I mean, you look at the safeties. How many of those safeties can come down now and give you that flex position? I mean, we got Curse, obviously, and Wilson that were covering tight ends, and, that's a big thing. So can you translate that to bigger receivers? And also,
tight ends. Yeah, right.
I love Wanye Thomas in this whole situation. Of course, Bland, you got these guys that are going to stick. And one thing Arizona loves to do is Dobbs, he likes to put it in contested short little windows. And I was going to say before Diggs went out was that this secondary eats up those type of passes. Diggs likes to attack the ball, Gilmore, Bland. So you're like, the recipe was there for us to get a lot of turnovers. I don't know if this really changes a whole lot. Not with this team. It's not one of those ones where you're like, we got 3 receivers set and they're all pretty elite. Where you remember the years you were taking on Tampa Bay and you had Antonio Brown in the slot.
Yeah.
You're not having any of those type of situations, and if you do come across anything, you usually don't have a quarterback that can throw it to you. Eagles. Yeah. So I say that, and I think I love the pass rush when you add that into the mix, of course.
Yeah, I think we're going to struggle. What's up, Curtis Liggins?
There's going to be
moments. I haven't seen you in here before, my man. Welcome to the show. Young DBs will hold up, Bland and others. Yeah, I agree. We're breaking it down, man. I think I do want to see some other people play the outside other than Bland. I really love Bland in the slot. Remember, Jordan Lewis was on a pitch count last week. He had a horrible foot injury last year. Mm-hmm. I don't know that he's ready for a full game right now in the slot. So expect Bland to play multiple positions and use somebody else. If Mukwamu is ready to go, then him. But where I think the Diggs injury is going to hurt the most, and guys like Twiz are going to love this, is the a taller, physical wide receivers, like an A.J. Brown type. Those are where, and let's not kid ourselves. Arizona's going to come out tomorrow and they're going to attack whoever's playing on Diggs' side. That's just what's going to happen. People who thought that Diggs was overrated or will be able to move right along and not skip a beat, you're going to see right away what I mean by that. Now, I'm not saying they're going to have a lot of success, but they're going to attack it. And Arizona has some speedy receivers, so we will break that down later. Not a good thing. I love Trevon Diggs. He was arguably the best corner in the league. Arguably. Just by his numbers, they're not throwing his way. He will gamble on occasion, Phil, but...
Yeah, you want your corners to do it.
Yeah, I think the one thing about winning is the whole turnover thing, and nobody's been better at that since he's come in the league than Trevon Diggs. Ultra Cowboys says we can move right along. I'm not saying we can't, but we have to give Diggs that due, and his shoes aren't going to be easily filled.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm kind of giving him this little tribute, because honestly, it's just, I definitely believe the next man up, but when you look at the pass rush, you can kind of put in that formula, and it's nowhere near. So remember, and I think I made this point before, so I apologize if I'm going on this route in a different one. But Carolina Panthers, there was those years that Josh Norman was making this. Oh man, Josh Norman's the man. Was it Josh Norman, or was it more of that defensive line that was getting this amazing pass rush that caused coverage, the coverage to basically didn't have to worry about it as much, and you could make up and get interceptions and stuff like that. So then you add the fact that this even with Diggs out of the lineup, this is a very capable secondary. This doesn't, you do go a notch down. It does, of course, losing a guy like that is
fine in the short term. I'm just
it just
telling
sucks.
You,
It just sucks. Yes,
just
I
look,
agree.
tomorrow they're going to attack it right away. So I'm just get ready. Now it's what we do. I don't care. Bland hasn't played that much on the outside, and he hasn't. So this is the NFL.
Yeah,
not for long. Yeah, you better be ready to roll. And listen. More importantly, Phil, I think Dan Quinn is going to be the whole key to this. He's going to scheme differently now. You can't scheme it the same. You don't have 2 lockdown corners. You might have to send some help to that way. You might have to play more games up front. That's all. I think we'll be fine in the short term. We just can't have any more major injury. We can't.
Yeah. You're going to have one. We were talking about that. That's why anytime we talked about injuries with anybody, we're just, we weren't happy about it. It sucks. It's a part of the game that you wish you could turn off, but it is a part of the game. And so this is the kind of the argument that we've made in the sense of, why doesn't the roster go up? We add another game to the thing. Why doesn't the 53-man roster? The salary cap is going up. Why don't we increase the roster? It's like there's a lot of things that point one way, but until somebody points it out to the committee, nobody really even thinks about it there. They're thinking about more of which bank account am I going to get that nice check into? So when I look at what we have on the defense and making up, I think you're totally right, Brian. Dan Quinn, that's your mastermind. When you look at this Cowboys team, what's the difference between this Cowboys team and a lot of other times that we've had it? Coaching experience. I think that's the biggest all across the board, the coaching experience. You have somebody that was in the Super Bowl as head coaches, actually won Super Bowls, even with their defensive coordinators, and as a head coach. You got guys that have that experience. And so when you put that into game situations, I think that's what we've been seeing for the first 2 weeks. Hey, we don't have to light up the New York Giants. Guess what? Our defense did it for us. Now let's just run the ball. Now the Jets, let's just take whatever points we get because it's hard to score on the Jets. Now, obviously, everybody shoves that out of the way when we score almost every single drive, but you got to still give the Jets credit. And I think if they can come out and dominate other teams, that will give us our recognition. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not so much worried about what anybody thinks. We're going to play the teams we play, and you'll have to deal with us then.
I think this is a good matchup, though. I think this is a good matchup for this week. The things that Arizona do well are things that Dallas does have a problem with at times.
Yeah, like it was said they're a JV team. Well, that's a JV team that, went toe-to-toe with the Giants. Now, we could say whatever. They scored 28 points on the Giants. And they lost the last second to who else did they lose to last second? Week 1 on the road. I forget who it was, but maybe
I can't remember.
Not really. Yeah. But Arizona, I like us in the game, obviously.
Yeah.
But they are going to test us. Josh Dobbs. Listen, last year was rough against guys like Jalen Hurts, guys who could run. It was kind of rough against the Cowboys defense. I'll be curious to see if we play these running quarterbacks different. I would assume so. Josh Dobbs, do we not forget that he almost beat us last year? He was with who
Browns?
was he with?
I remember he was with a team, but I know.
Yeah, well, he
Browns,
played us last year and almost. I'm sorry, I just kind of running around, but I know we played him last year. He was on a team, and he ran a lot. He's got a great arm, and I think, but ultimately, I think we're going to be fine. But you were talking about coaching. Now, I don't know what order you want to talk about.
No, go ahead,
stuff.
talk whatever feels.
No, but when you were talking about coaching, and it came to mind. Now, we haven't had our offensive line yet again. We haven't had our offensive line intact. It just hasn't happened yet again. But have you noticed a real big difference, though? I've actually thought we played well. Our young guys are playing well. I think it all comes down to the offensive line coach, Mike Solari, versus Joe Philbin of the last few years. And I heard an interesting take that Mike Solari is allowing Tyler Biadasz to change the play at the line of scrimmage, or the the protection at the line of scrimmage, and that's huge. And I think it actually showed, and that between Mike Solari and McCarthy getting Dak to the line of scrimmage, and I don't want anybody to pass out here. Dak gets to the line of scrimmage early, like Peyton Manning. I'm not calling him Peyton Manning, but he's able to get to the line of scrimmage early, and sometimes snap it earlier. You can't just drain the clock every time like Kellen Moore would do, and not to expect the defense to be getting unbelievable jumps off the ball. Mm-hmm. So I like what McCarthy's doing. I like what Solari's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely have to agree with you. And you got to give Arizona a little bit of credit, because what did we talk about? Brian's talked about it a couple of times. What's the weakness when it comes to stopping the run in this defense? It's going to the edges. Now, Arizona loves to do that. This is their bread and butter. And most of the time, this is what they're running. And they find a lot of success. And then when you add the fact that they are successful in the getting to the edge, and we are kind of bad at that at times. Now, we have shown that we've kind of clamped down on it, but that doesn't mean that it still isn't there, kind of hiding. So, hopefully the game plan will be to hold up those edges and see where we're going, because Dobbs, he's one of those guys that, rushing quarterbacks, the guys that he tends to run quicker than, just a pocket quarterback. I think that's really a statistic you can throw on any single one of them. But one thing that you will see is that he will try to throw close contested throws, and if the guys like Gilmore and Bland can get their hands on that, you should see Thomas. You should see some interceptions, especially with the addition of this pass rush, because again, nobody likes to talk about this pass rush, even though it is the first thing in conversation is Parsons. The other guys don't really get involved in it. Osa Armstrong. To me, Armstrong is the guy that nobody talks about. He's the guy that he has the stats. He's tall to us. Hey, man, Anthony Spencer, get that out of here. And he's not even the starter there. But he's a guy that contributes almost every single game. He's hitting like 1 or 2 sacks. It's like, definitely in the beginning of the season, anytime you see him, he's always with the 2-stack category. But, I'm loving what we have on this defensive line.
I even like what we got out of my guy. What's his name? The big guy. Golston. I thought Golston.
Yeah. Surprisingly, yes. Golston has been good.
Yeah, like when we have
even Gallimore has been okay. Gallimore's been okay,
Gallimore has been good.
Yes.
Mozzie's been low, but Mozzie, what people don't understand is not every D tackle is supposed to come in and be able to get pressure. He is handling a double team. That's huge, and still making plays. That's all we need him to do now, but he's going to get better. But right now, that's more than enough in this defense. So, I'm just excited about the defense. It sucks we lost them. I'm ready to turn the page, but we have plenty of answers on our own team. It's not like we're the only team who has injuries. I'm not even trying to say that. It's just a kick in the stomach when we lose our... I'm sorry, I consider him our number 2 defensive player. I consider him a top 3 corner in the league, Diggs. So, it is a big loss.
DMV and I were talking about it earlier on his broadcast, but he pointed out, and I think he might be right, Trevon Diggs is probably the best corner to come out of Alabama. And he wasn't even a corner to start with, a wide receiver, obviously. But when we started looking back, we started hitting some of the names. Patrick Surtain is probably the closest one you had, and he was teammates with him. So, when you look back at some of these guys, it makes you wonder, was there a better one? Because when you look at the success that he's had, especially interceptions and stuff, leading the league since he's come into the league in interceptions, and you see him adding different layers to the game. Most of the guys that get paid, Deion got paid, and I love Deion and everything, but Deion got paid. He was, hey, I don't really tackle, I just do that. Yeah, look what happened on week 1, man. Diggs just puts the lumber on Barkley, and then we get a turnover. He didn't just rest on his laurels. He went ahead and elevated his game, and that's why nobody even brings up the money when we're talking about this injury. And so, man, I'm going to miss the guy, but I'm so excited about what this defense is going to do.
All right, I got to get to the chat here. Let's see. Well, first we'll go with Jack Meeker. Mozzie is getting better already. He is, and like Phil said, and Phil played the game at a college level at Oregon. He knows what he's talking about. He knows that.
I don't think so. I don't think so,
It's like
Philadelphia.
It's like, well, that's what I was getting to. I'm working my way down there. Mozzie in 2 years from now is going to be a way different Mozzie than what you see now.
Yeah.
So
yeah. When
you
he
know,
can
and
eat
he's
some
still
peanut
doing
butter.
good.
Yeah.
He's still doing good. Ultra Cowboys says Cowboys not trading for CB. They draft well. Bland is ready. I'm fine with that. I'm just saying, just have a short list just in case. Whether it's a Bradley Roby.
I am a duck. I am a duck.
Or yeah, he's happy right now. But yeah, just have a short list ready. God forbid we have another injury, because the whole thing was Gilmore was supposed to be opposite Diggs, and that was a perfect storm. Now Gilmore is like the lead guy, and we'll see, man. I'm hoping everything is good. But Philadelphia. Well, first let me get Coyote. Jerry ain't in charge anymore. Just pretends now. You're right.
Yeah.
He just the mouth of the franchise. Philadelphia, though, this is the one. And Philadelphia was very polite in this, so I give him a shout out for that. As polite as you can be.
That's why I put it up there and like. So go ahead.
Oh yeah,
go
I
ahead.
can't. Yeah, I have something on. I'm watching college football. I don't have the broadcast on. I think I'm gonna get another screen. That's what I think I'm gonna do.
Yeah, welcome to my world, baby.
But Cowboys and Primetime Phil. So if a Game Time and Primetime, if the Cowboys don't win, he's already negative. If we don't win a playoff game, a divisional round, he's big on the divisional round. Can't just win wild card round. That's not.
No,
and I agree.
I get it.
What's your opinion on Cowboys roster next year? Any changes coming? If what? I don't want to think negative like Game 3 when we're kicking ass. But if that were to happen, we'd have to see why they lost. If Dak shit the bed, then I got news for you. That's going to be a topic of discussion. Now, Dak's salary cap number alone tells you he's going to be on the team next year.
No.
But I don't see that happening.
Well, they're talking about long-term deal with him. I mean, you got to expect that before any kind of change. I expect a deal before I expect a change.
But I'm just saying, he's not saying that. He's saying, what changes do you say?
Oh.
And I'm like, all right.
How do we lose, I guess, really, right?
The only real change I would say, I don't see it because I like what I'm seeing, would be the head coach. That would be the only change if we lost in the divisional round, especially at home, because I'm thinking we're going to be getting the bye. So that's going to be our first home game. And if we lose that one, I think McCarthy should freaking go. I don't care who it is. It could be the Niners coming into our house. If we can't beat them yet again for the third season, then that tells me something,
No.
So, but
No.
let's not.
I'm not with
Cowboy,
that. I'm not with that. I think one thing I laugh about, and of course this is me, Cowboys, and hating on the rivals, and we do that to each other. We smirk a little bit. We smirk a little bit. I look at Andy Reid. I see him with Mahomes, and I'm like, man, Eagle fans have just got to be rolling over.
Chicken nuggies.
God, just their old coach that was there for so long. And everybody's like, get him out of here. He can't win anything. And then now he's winning Super Bowls left and right. And so, I mean, that's what I don't want, that buyer's remorse type of thing. I think he's changed this culture. I mean, he's able to bring coaches. Of course, draft picks, this is Will McClay's thing. He was doing it. I think now with the coaches that you have, now you can get more specific of which type of players you want. You can go after those instead of, hey, we're just getting whatever talent just to fill this roster, because that's what Jason Garrett. I like Switchblade, just does everything. He wants that offensive lineman instead of just being, hey, I'm a great tackle. I'm not a great guard because when I get bodies around me. No, he wanted that guy that I can do kicking, and I can do your taxes if you want to. Like, it's just, dude, like, I just want a special guy in that position. Can we get somebody? So we had to change the whole coaching staff in order to get that. So trust me, you get me on Garrett, dude, I can go off all day. I can't stand that bastard.
Mr. 8-8, right? Mr. 8-8, Coach Clapp. He would cry every other day in the locker room. At some point, that you can't keep going back to that well.
Yeah.
I ain't no punk bitch. Jay Recruiter says Dak is going to be Mahomes with his new offense. Wow.
Yeah,
Jay
man, that's hard to
Recruiter,
say. Like I love you. I love you.
I love me
that.
some Dak, but I'm not about to say that. Ultra says people have underestimated McCarthy, the player development program.
That's
Listen,
correct. I correct.
That's
why I look at Trey Lance. I love this whole thing with Trey Lance. That's why.
Yeah, well, I think it was Ultra. I don't know who it was. Somebody asked me when we're going to see Trey Lance. I said, the perfect situation is the last game of this year when we have something wrapped up, whether it's a playoff spot and we can't improve our position or lose our position.
Thank you, Jack.
That's a perfect opportunity to start and play Lance the whole game. That way you keep your backup intact going into the playoffs. Playoffs?
You want to talk about playoffs?
Yeah. So,
we can't even win a game. You want to talk about playoffs? And like, oh man, Jim Mora. Yeah. I love when they did those Coors Light commercials that were like they're taking the audio. We win the play. We play to win the game or something like that.
Yeah, right.
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah. Bud Light, you mean?
Yes.
Bud Light?
Was it Bud Light? I thought it was Coors Light. I swear it was Coors Light that did it.
It might have been.
But when we talking about any of these rival games, of course, and that's where I see that person in this conference coming from. As much as we talk crap to each other and everything, Minnesota's so up and down. Jefferson, when Jefferson's not on the same page as still doing amazing. But him and Kirk Cousins, when Kirk Cousins finally turns it on at primetime, nobody else follows him. Man. San Francisco, of course, San Francisco looks good, but they did look human.
Did you hear the latest regarding Justin Jefferson? Now, here we go.
No.
Here we go. Justin Jefferson, New England is reaching out, for Justin Jefferson. In what world would you want to trade him away? He's your only thing you have on your team right now. You ain't letting Justin Jefferson go.
Man, let's just say if you had a fantasy football team and he was on your team, you wouldn't be trading him on that one either. So, yeah, definitely shouldn't be trading him on the actual Vikings.
Philadelphia. The Cowboys, the type of team that would go 17-0 in the regular season and somehow lose the second round of the playoffs. I hope not, but we've been there before when we lost to the
13.
Giants.
Yeah, trust me.
We got the bye. Romo
he's not wrong.
Cabo,
But
no
this
Cabo,
team, again,
right?
this team is different.
Cabo.
Like, okay, so when they're talking about the whole Bart Scott, all that kind of thing, him running his mouth or whatever, everybody took it all personal. No, man, you try to make a joke and it didn't run right. Well, it's the Cowboys and their luck. That's like me saying something about Cleveland and they never win anything, so something's eventually going to happen and stuff like that. And so everybody attacks and I didn't mean it. Like, screw that, man. That whole
Did you
thing.
See Bart Scott?
Oh yeah. And so that's where Micah
shot down, man.
by Micah, yeah. And it's just even got some people over there also defending him. Well, he didn't really say anything. Like, man, get that out of here. Like, it's just not. Yeah. It's like,
who was the first person to reach out to Diggs was some Eagles guys.
Because they were dealing with it.
I know the fans.
They play each
the
other,
fans
man.
get in a frenzy, and the fans are cruel and they talk shit. But the players are a family.
Each other's game. Yeah.
They are on the same team. At the end of the day, they all have each other's back. Micah Parsons, has great relationships with the Eagles player. I mean, that's just the way it is, people. Look at after the game when they're taking off their jerseys.
Yeah,
and
they're switching it out.
jerseys.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all tight, people. This whole hate rivalry, for the most part, is between fans. They laugh at it. They think we're those people.
But let's
who
be
get
real.
fights
We
in the stands
need to
are
calm
dumbasses.
down with
They
that
laugh
whole
at
thing.
you.
Yes, the fights in the stands.
It's BS.
Yeah. This
They
isn't soccer.
want you to get the most you can get because it helps me, and they don't want you to get hurt because if everybody gets hurt, then the rules change, and then the money comes down. Listen, just stop it with the hate, man. They say, hey, this is football. We love football. This NFL, Phil, is going to be here and gone before we know it.
Yep.
We're already on week 3.
Mm-hmm.
I just, it'll be over before we know it. And let's enjoy it. Let's dig each other, of course. That's what it's about. But I don't have any time for anybody DMing me saying, LOL, fly Eagles fly. Sorry about your luck. Go Birds. Dude, just keep it going. You're obviously a loser. You know what I mean? So I don't wish that on anybody. But hey, Stacy, how are you? Roland's Reviews is in the house.
But back, I guess we go right back to the game.
I think I talked enough so you can hit all your buttons. No,
no. I've been listening. I was deep in there.
He's
The mad scientist back here and stuff, just doing
I'm
my
trying
thing.
to help you, but sometimes I go too far.
No. You were good. Man. I do that same.
Hit those like buttons. Don't forget.
Appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Coyote. I appreciate it. I miss hate between teams. It's a different game, man.
It is.
It's a different game. Back then, they did it for the love of the game. All those guys back in the
They had it, and this was their second job. It wasn't even like it was their first job. It was usually their second job.
Right, that's what I was saying. If you guys watch any of the Deep Blue series, I was telling Phil about, like Chuck Halley had a business on the side. These guys couldn't afford to play football.
Well, I'm just giving them credit.
They
I mean,
actually
because
left
I've had a second
their
job that I
team.
just didn't give a shit
Well,
about.
he got a knee injury, right? Yep. And he went and opened up a cleaner, or he had like a couple different businesses, and he wasn't coming back to the NFL because he make more money with his own business.
Yeah.
And that's why when they got on the field, it was nasty. It's a different game. Just watch old film. It's not the same game. It's overly penalized nowadays. I love it, but it's overly penalized. There's nothing like watching the game and pass interference, holding, pass interference. You're in field goal range.
Yep. Just like
it's
that.
like, wow. But anyway.
No. So when you look at this matchup, obviously there's nothing that really gets you. Even if you're, we're talking that, hey, the game plan for Arizona definitely could weigh in their favor to really attack this defense, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be just driving up and down the field. Like now, fluke type of touchdowns and things that are happening. And, we saw last week, of course, Malik Hooker takes a bad angle and then boom, that was it. But of course, that was against their star wide receiver. Who is Arizona's star wide receiver? I'll wait.
Well,
they got a running
funny
back
you
that's
said
amazing.
that. Well, they have Marquise Brown. What they have, Phil, is speed on the outside. We could all make fun of them. They all run a 4.3. So, and Josh Dobbs, if nothing else, has a cannon for an arm. He does. So, they have Marquise Brown, Michael Wilson, Rondell Moore. They have Zach Pascal, and they have Zach Ertz and Trey McBride. I mean, it's not, and Jeff Swain, believe it or not, is still hanging around. So,
well, one thing that Bryan brought us, I was listening out this weekend, one thing that he was talking about that Arizona does, and I've noticed it, but he made a really good point, is that when they tend to run, again, we're running to the side, when we're doing that, wherever we're running, we have a guy coming the opposite way, ready to take out knees. And so you worry about guys like Parsons just going at full force and a guy going cheaply to his knees.
How are you?
So that's something to watch out for. They have the ability to counter it, but again, when you look at the speed of we're going to put two guys on Parsons here, and look how well that has turned out for a lot of the team. So, I mean, you can game plan all you want, but once you get, smacked in the mouth, the game plan totally changes. And this is the type of defense that any individual, and yes, Parsons is usually the main culprit, but any individual can smack you in the mouth. And we saw last week that D-Law was the first guy to do it. So, I'm loving this defense. You give me a name, and I'm usually excited in some way for them.
Right.
And even the guys that we were bashing. I mean, Gallimore, he's done pretty well. Getting some pressure, getting his body on bodies.
Dante Fowler. Look at Dante
Fowler's been just balling, looking like
he's
looking like 5-6 years ago. Kind of Fowler. You can see the attitude as he's hitting people too.
Let's get to the chat real quick. I got a couple people to get to.
I don't want to.
How many flags would Ronnie Lott get in the NFL? Ronnie Lott would probably
he'd be kicked out. That was targeting him and Steve Atwater. Steve.
Do you want me, in Philadelphia, I'd rather go 10-7 and go to the championship game. That's an easy one. A Glimmerman, anyone see Chubb injury? Did that look like he went for the knee? They actually said it wasn't a bad hit. I don't like the hit. I think that's a dirty hit.
It is.
I understand that there's penalties for hitting up high. You don't take somebody's livelihood. Just like Bryan brought us, I worry about I worry about this team that we're about to play. They do a lot of cut back blocks, when they run the other way. I'm just worried, like guys like Zach Martin, just beware of the the back.
The blocks. Yeah.
And the main culprit is what's his name?
Hurts.
DJ Humphries.
Oh, Hurts.
He's that's their left tackle. He's kind of nasty, and he will cut block you.
They got Will Hernandez. Remember that dirty player? Like, trust me, man. They got a lot of guys who are just dirty there, and that's why they get away with a lot of stuff. Let's just be real, man. When you got those type of players, they know how to get away with little shots, and then you're the guy swinging, and you get in trouble. Yeah, so they know how to get it. So hopefully they can stay within there. But one thing I know for sure, when you look at this defense, you look at the matchup, of course, you're like, okay, maybe they can attack them. But when you look at all the stuff that's happened outside, the whole Bart Scott, I think people have pissed this defense off.
Hey, Jeff Lee, how are you?
Normally when a team loses a star player, what happens to that defense? Oh, that defense takes a drop. It definitely doesn't get pissed off. And you thinking that the next team is going to have an easier time. But I think Arizona's about to get their ass whooped. And it's because of Bart Scott. Let's be real.
Yeah, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Until a team can deal with our pass rush, Ultra Cowboy says, good luck throwing it deep. Yeah, that's what it's going to have to be. That's what I was saying earlier. Not that we can't cover. We're going to cover. But we're not going to be able to cover as long. And we're going to have to send help a little bit. Whereas Diggs, he never got help. But yeah, for the most part. And every once in a while, look, we would pay for it. But
yeah,
he was on a roll this year.
Especially when you had somebody out there that can't complement those deep ones. I mean, like, what was it, KZ? Remember KZ?
Yeah,
he just, when those deep ones, they just weren't on that same page. So you're seeing a lot more of a cohesiveness with this safety group. And that's why when I talked about that whole, Romo, he wasn't supposed to have any kind of help. What?
Yeah.
So let me guess. Hooker wasn't even supposed to be looking that way. He just happened to be strolling. Hey, I happened to be in town, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and pick this ball off. What the hell was that? No, Dan Quinn put him in the thing. Hey, man, look that way. Like, that's why it was like kind of like, okay, that wasn't Parsons just running across the field making a play. That was designed. So I whatever, So the guy's been out of football.
Says if they take deep shots and run off the tackle all game, then it's going to be a rough game if our offense don't perform. Man, I expect our offense, i.e. Dak, to throw multiple touchdowns tomorrow. The one place, in my opinion, that you can attack this defense is their corners. I don't believe that they're very good. You got Marco Wilson playing right corner and Keltrell Clark. They're not real household names. Just remember, Buda Baker is out. Their defensive line can give us problems, especially the way they rush up the middle and they attack the center and the A-gap with their big boys. That could be an issue if Tyler Biadasz doesn't play. But with our new scheme, when we get the ball out early, that could help. But I think we're going to have to get the ball out, and we're going to have to throw the ball because I think, I'm seeing now that Tyron Smith is questionable. We ain't going to have everybody, okay? I'm seeing where Zach Martin's questionable. So we're going to have to get the ball out. We're not going to be able to run, like, in my opinion, very well at first. I think we're going to, assuming these guys don't play, we're going to have to throw the ball. And I think we will be able to. That's the difference. I think we will. Let's see what else we got here. What's up, Elena Walker? Welcome.
Ultra,
thanks for stopping in.
Digging.
Coyote says Ultra Cowboy winner tie. That was a Gilmore, but it was really the safety's fault. Ultimately, he has the last line of defense. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a bad angle. That was a very bad angle.
That was all the safety, Malik Hooker. He took a bad angle. Fine,
but he made up for it. But then he made up for it. I think that's the biggest thing. It's gonna happen. Sometimes it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Does he make it up later in the game? Yeah, man. But he goes and gets that interception, and yeah. So to me, as long as you're doing that, I think that's what you see in some of these guys, the just dog mentality. I mean, even in Dak, like past couple of years, he's always had that whole thing. He throws an interception, turns it over somehow, boom, he gets focused for the rest. But he's been a little bit more lax. I think the offense allows him, again, you're not guessing what the receiver is going to do almost, and you have to be on the same page. There wasn't all these option routes. These guys are just running their routes. And these routes are also designed to get other people open. I see. That's why you see Gallup. Again, we talked about it even in general. Gallup is just a guy that does not get separation. I mean, remember Bryan, all those catches? Man, he was just catching them over people because he wasn't great at route running and he just couldn't get separation. But he could catch the ball still, and I think that's what Gallup brings. We haven't needed what he brings yet because at some point they're going to cover Lamb. At some point they're going to cover Cooks. They're going to want to cover whoever else in the sense is out there, whether it's Jake Ferguson or Pollard coming out of the backfield. That's going to give Gallup those one-on-ones at some point, and he will. I do feel that he will come through in those situations. It's just when you don't throw it to him until the third quarter, he just drops it all of a sudden. That's where you're like, okay, just don't get away from him just because he just dropped it all of a sudden. And I think that's what they've been getting away from as well. And I don't think it's by purpose, but of course, Dak just reading the defense.
Yes, I totally agree. What's up, JoJo? How are you? Yeah, Philadelphia. I've been down that road, man. I'm already on record. I told Phil, before the season, and this is before I knew how dominant. I knew we'd be good. Everybody has known that I'd say our defense was real good. I thought it'd be the best in the division. We can debate it, but that's what was my opinion. But I did say it's all going to come down to how healthy is any team coming out of the East going into the playoffs, and how are you playing? That's what I really care about. If that means not winning the division, but yet I'm playing unbelievable, winning 6 straight, putting up 30 points, giving up 10 a game, rolling into the playoffs, shit, I don't care. I don't need to win the division. I don't need to have some incredible record. Obviously, you want to buy, but you want to be playing well and you want to be healthy. Now, we've got one major hit. I know Eagles have some injuries, but I don't know that they have any season ending as of yet.
I think Maddox has been a little bit banged up.
Yeah, so it's part of the game.
Maddox reminds us.
True.
Maddox kind of reminds us of our Donovan Wilson.
All right, man. Did you want to break down all these NFL games?
Let's do it.
Obviously, we'll end up with our Cowboys, unless you have other stuff
No, I like
to
it.
talk about.
No. I haven't even looked at them, so this is awesome. So this is.
Yeah, well, why not, right?
Yes.
Well, do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead, because mine's loading.
And I'll give my opinion. We'll just fly through them. We'll go with the Cleveland Browns is home, -3 against the Tennessee Titans. Do you have any thought on that game? Anybody in the chat?
To me, I would go with the Browns.
I think is going to put down the massage oil and be able to actually, complete some passes and look half decent, because he's looked like shit to me. Excuse my language, but he hasn't looked good.
Yeah,
so what do you think about that game? I
don't know how much it's been on him compared to that offensive line, and the wide receivers really haven't been doing him any kind of favors. But I think they can put it together enough against a team like Tennessee that really is trying to. What identity they have, we're not really sure yet. Of course, they got weapons; they just don't know how to use them yet. So I would go more Browns on that one.
Well, I look at it this way. When you get paid all that money, you saw, when Dak was the high-paid guy back, 2 years ago, and, oh my God, look how much he's making. Deshaun Watson's contract is ridiculous. They just wanted a big-time QB, so they thought. Now, I like him, but I liked him in Houston with those receivers that he had. That was me. But they overpaid for him, but he hasn't looked that great. That was a toss-up game. They lost. They did re-sign Kareem Hunt. Ugly game. If I had to pick a side, I'll take the Browns, but it's probably a field goal game. So,
Hunt back,
it is what it is. Yeah.
I love weed.
We'll go to the next game here. Surprisingly, that the Detroit Lions lost last week, which I actually was laughing at, because everybody wanted to anoint them. Oh my God, they're the second best team in the NFC. Well, listen, man, it's not easy. Detroit's hosting the Atlanta Falcons. again, only a field goal game. I was kind of surprised. If Detroit is all that, Phil, why are we only a field goal game at home?
Because
against
apparently
Desmond
Atlanta's
Ridder?
all that too, man.
You know?
No,
So,
that's where I kind of pick. You have those teams that are on the bottom, and then they kind of go back up. And Atlanta was again picked one of those teams, and the games that they've won have been close games. And Detroit it's kind of been on the losing. That's where we got the close game for Detroit, and they were on the losing end of that. So they just battling all the time. So I want to pick Detroit, but it's hard to kind of swing away from Atlanta because I think Atlanta can trip them up. But I'm still going to go with Detroit. I'm going to go with Detroit.
Yeah, that's a tough one, but to me, you got to go Detroit here. I think they smack Atlanta. If they're that team that everybody said that they were. Now, I don't know about their injuries. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown is questionable. But we'll see. I know they lost Drummond, their running back, for a few weeks. So, just an ugly game at Ford Field, if you ask me. But I would probably field goal game Detroit. Next game, shocker, Atlanta Falcons beat them last week by 1. Green Bay Packers, this is actually the first actual interesting game for me. Green Bay Packers at home, -2 versus the New Orleans Saints. So,
See what you mean. I look at experience. When NFL experience, I'm going to have to go. I would go New Orleans. And I don't think it will be close. But, you never know. You never know what team the Saints are going to bring you. But I just think they have a more capable quarterback than th've had in the past. So I think they can put a team away that they're supposed to. So I would go New Orleans on this one.
Coyote 6'5", 150.
Dang, Coyote.
Dude, you're a stick, dude. Your big stick, a long stick. Pause. All right, the next game you had. This is
what are you gonna give me? You got to give me your pick. You got Green Bay
at home.
No. You got to give me yours.
What's the weather supposed to be like, Phil? Is the storm? It's not near you. It's not raining, right?
So you got to give us your pick, though. You got to give. Who do you got? Saints or Green Bay?
I'm with you. I like New Orleans.
Okay.
I think Green Bay's done it with mirrors. But
all right. So what was the next one you said?
Miami. How's the weather in Miami tomorrow? Is it going to be fine?
Should be fine.
Should be fine. I mean, you don't have any of this.
No, tropical storm stuff. No.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because Miami every once in a while has a
tropical storm.
Yeah,
but don't get me wrong. It's going to rain. It's going to rain at some point. It's supposed to thunderstorm, but that's just normal around here.
Yeah. You got the Dolphins -6.5 versus the Broncos. The Broncos,
I just think at the time.
Broncos.
1 o'clock, you should be
fine.
fine.
Payton looks like an ass Broncos. Give me the Dolphins, man.
I'd go Miami as well. And watch, you never know. Watch, this would be the game that Denver all of a sudden just, nobody's expecting anything from us, and we're going to go ahead and show it on display. But if I had to be a betting man, I would definitely go with Miami on that one.
Yeah, me too. Here we go. I don't understand this line, man. I know they're both 0-2, but the next game we have, 1 o'clock game, Minnesota Vikings at home. It's a pick'em. It's a pick'em against the Los Angeles Chargers. The line is 1, and like in a lot of casinos, the Vikings, but dude, I would go Chargers there. I think the Vikings' offensive, defensive lines are horrendous.
Yeah, I would say Chargers just because they have more weapons than just one that they have to shut. Not to say they're going to stop them, but they have multiple weapons compared to Minnesota. It doesn't really seem to utilize their weapons too much, but between the two, I think Minnesota should have a better shot with the running game. But I would take the Chargers.
Yep. That's how I roll. All right, moving on to the still 1 o'clock games. You got the New York Football Jets at home, +2.5 versus the New England Patriots. This was an easy one for me.
Oh,
I think that. What's
easy one for you? Okay, go ahead.
I think that the Jets are going to be on a spiral.
Ooh, okay.
Give me the New England Patriots to get their first win. Mac Jones comes in the AT&T the following week with a game winning streak. That's what I see.
So when I look at this game, if I had to think, I would think that the Jets would want to prove something. that what happened last week and all the news that they've had, I feel like they're just really going to smack New England around. Probably not really. The scoring is not really going to happen. But, man, I wouldn't. Oh, that's a close one.
Angelica left. What do you mean she left?
She's like, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm going to go. Because I just don't trust the Jets offense to go and drive and score. But I'm going to go New England. I'm going to go New England on that one.
I brought them to the dark side. I'm not a big
so.
fan of New England, but I think they've played.
I think they will play all of a sudden a good game.
I just think they're going to win the game. I don't know. I just don't have much faith in the Jets. Or Zach Wilson. I think we took their heart last week. I do.
Yeah, that was oof. Okay, so the next one on those 1 o'clock games, we got two more here? We got.
Yeah, I got it. I'm just following the chat.
Go ahead.
Because it's getting.
Oh,
ridiculous.
they're getting
we
back
can't
and
get
forth.
along here. Come on now. We got the Washington left hand up. The Commanders are a home dog. The Washington Commanders are getting 6.5 points versus the Josh Allen led Buffalo Bills. Go ahead, Phil. What do you think?
Man, I would put my money on Buffalo just destroying Washington.
I don't think so.
And I don't think it's going to be close.
I think it'll be a close game, Phil.
I mean,
I don't know why.
What Washington? That's what I'm saying. Washington's defense is good, and Buffalo's offense has not shown anything.
I was wrong. They are good.
So I think Buffalo should run away with this, but again, we'll see what happens. NFL.
Give me the points at home. And you lose a close one, so be it. Josh Allen is getting crapped on a lot. Everybody is burying Josh Allen. So maybe he has a big game. I think Washington's playing pretty good. But
there's a lot of ways to attack that defense, and they've shown that.
I'll take the points, is what I'm saying. I'm not positive that Washington can win, but give me 6.5 at home, especially in that driving rain. And their running game looked pretty good.
Oh, yeah, the rain. The rain's going to be involved in that. Buffalo, last time Buffalo rain. That last time, Buffalo with the rain. Oh, man, they did not have a good one. Maybe this will be the bookend where they started it with the crappy rain and they end it with crappy rain and they continue and they actually get back to their ways. Yeah. So the other game that we have, the 1 o'clock, the last 1 o'clock game.
Yeah, well, there's a couple more actually.
We got the last 1 o'clock game.
Jacksonville Jaguars are a 9.5 point favorite at home against the Houston Eastside Herald's Texans. So,
I would go Jacksonville easily. I don't even hesitate to think that Houston's going to do anything.
What's going on? Yeah, we don't need this.
Well, stop going back and forth. Yeah, you guys, let's calm it down, guys. Let's calm it down.
Chill out, man. It's supposed to be fun. It's Liz's. Whatever. I'm not even getting into it. I think the Jags roll here.
I would guess
points. Too. So it's 7.5 in a lot of places, but the one, so I'll take the Jags minus the points.
All right, and so what's the next one we got?
All right, the next one. The next one is the Baltimore Ravens -8 at home against the Indianapolis Colts. This one is tough.
Nope.
A lot of points.
No. I think Baltimore, and I don't think Indianapolis is in it just because they do not have their quarterback.
But that's just a lot. And
their rushing quarterback is not there, and so I don't
Baltimore is going through the running back carousel. But that being said, I'll take the Ravens. They're really good at M&T Bank Stadium. That's what I would, if I were a betting man of Philadelphia, I would take the Ravens. So, I just would. That was the final 1 o'clock game, by the way. We go on to the 4 o'clock schedule. We got the Seattle Seahawks -5.5 versus the Carolina Panthers. So, what do you like there, Phil?
Well, you're in Seattle, so it's tougher to play, of course, in Seattle.
The 12th man.
12th man definitely gets involved. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's not as loud as, for example, at 8 o'clock at night. I want to believe that Seattle is going to be able to put this game away, but for some reason I'm feeling that Carolina this is the one game that they could possibly win. Because
Funny,
nothing
me and
against,
Phil are always the opposite.
yeah, Bryce. See, Bryce Young.
You're coming for picks. Don't
Yeah,
come
yeah,
here.
don't come
'cause
here.
You're not gonna get
No,
a
no, no.
consensus.
Bryce. Well, Bryce Young. I mean, he doesn't have anything around him, so it's hard to think that he's all of a sudden going to turn it on.
I love weed.
But Seattle, I could feel like giving that game away. But I'm going to go the opposite, of course, because you got to look at the bigger picture. Metcalf, do they have anybody on the other side that's going to stop him? You got some offensive
I
weapons.
love Seattle in this game.
Yeah, I would
Especially
probably
with
go
a rookie,
Seattle.
a QB going into the 12th man. Did you see Seattle last week? They got well quick. They were scoring at will against Detroit. So give me Seattle at home, man. It's most likely going to rain. You know that.
Yeah,
So
Seattle. You know,
they're probably going to. I just love
it's always
Seattle.
raining. It's always raining over there.
Okay, let's move on to the next game. 425. The Kansas City Chiefs minus 12.5 against the Chicago Bears. And this is one of my Philadelphia. Stay tuned. This is one of my
Guarantees.
fun games to pick. But go ahead, Phil. What do you like?
Oh, you watch. I like Chicago. No, man, I gotta.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I can't think of any way that a one-dimensional
No
team
way.
can beat a. I don't care who it is. I mean, if you're a playoff team, you definitely have a good chance of whooping up on Chicago. Sorry, I'm not even calling them the wrong team. I can't. I don't think I could really ever.
Yes, he does.
Bet on
Coyote.
Chicago.
Yes, he does.
What's that?
He
Does
asked if
Mahomes-
Mahomes has his tight end back.
Yes, he does. Yes, he
back.
does. So I got to go with Kansas City. I don't even hesitate.
This
to
is
even
one of
go.
those games, Phil, though. This is one of those games where Kansas City may win the game, but it's a
But they're gonna-
non-common opponent.
But Chicago's
different-
going to talk about
the
his
conference.
mama. And it's gonna be,
I think Fields is just going to run. I'm not sold on Kansas City's defense. I could see looking at the scoreboard and seeing the Bears up 14-0. I think the Chiefs win the game. I just love the points. Give me the points with a desperate 0-2 team. I'll take it.
Oh
So-
man, I think you're giving Chicago a little bit too much credit.
Come on,
What,
man.
they
All
play.
right, well,
They play
there are
Green Bay.
receipts.
I mean,
feel
who did
like
they
a fool
play?
here.
Like who played? Like
I'm just saying.
I'm
man.
messing,
I
man.
think
I'm poking at you. I gotta
Chicago,
poke at
I
you.
think
I
they
can't
could-
just let
they
you.
keep it
I
close.
can't let you feel
Now,
all
we
confident
could-
about your pick.
We could talk about teeing it up and using that with another team and add 6 points. And,
Well, I think
tee it up,
I
but
really think that
I don't really like
that-
teasers. That's a sucker bet.
I think Chicago will have more rushing yards from the quarterback than Kansas City, but that's about it.
Yeah, if Bland plays corner, he will get a pick and shut that side down. I hope you're right, Mark Hutchin. Bears have too much drama right now. They are distracted. They are distracted, but again,
of
all
course,
I'm
the
asking
quarterback
is to
that's
keep
not-
it within a 10-point score.
He's
And I
just
think
not
it's
interested in
possible.
passing.
We'll
He's
see.
just-
We
I-
shall see. Maybe it's a
You-
sucker bet. Maybe they're just waving them points in front of my face. But let's see here. We're going to skip over the Cowboy game for now because that is a 425 game. We got 3 more games on the schedule. We got the Sunday night game, which is
Oh
meh.
man, that's going to be
We
a
got
snore
the-
fest.
We got Los Angeles Raiders. This line is all over the place.
They
You
don't
know,
even
I'm
know.
looking at Caesars and it's -1.5. I see 2.5. I see 3 in some places. But let's just say 2.5. -2.5 for the Raiders versus the Steelers. This is a tough one, ugly game if you ask me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
Pretty bad.
man.
It's a rough week. It's a rough week.
Man. What's the points on this one?
Well, you got the Raiders basically given 2.5. So
Yeah,
they're-
that's about right.
yeah, if I had to take a side, I'd have
I would
to
go Raiders. Yeah,
If I'm-
I could see Pittsburgh
just,
winning
yeah.
it. Don't get me wrong because of defense and stuff, but God, like this is just a terrible pick. This is a terrible game, man. Okay, but anyways, yeah, I'll go with Las Vegas, but I just think
Yeah,
because they
just
have a couple
home,
more
and you got a
weapons.
rookie quarterback with
Yeah.
small hands. You know,
Small
It
hands.
might get it might be humid inside the dome. I don't know. It's like a stretch.
I think
But,
he's not going to sleep on the right side of the bed, and I think he's going to stub his toe when he gets up in the middle of the
Not
night
everybody's
to pee.
got big hands.
And
like Mark,
I think
you
he
know what
won't
I'm
be able to
saying?
run around.
What's up, Felix Rojas? Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, got to get
What's
the
up,
angle over here.
Angelica? You must have
Angelica.
saw the bat signal. They were just talking about you. Twiz and Ultra Cowboy were fighting.
Yep, not surprising.
Just tell Ultra that Twiz is a good guy. We're going to go to the Eagle game next, okay? This is actually the one game of the whole weekend, the whole card, between two undefeated teams, which is kind of, that tells you how bad the week is as far as games. The Eagle game on Monday night, the first of two Monday night games, is the most exciting. So, Tampa Bay is, the line is dropped to 4.5, is a 4.5 point favorite against the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'll spell it right, E-A-G-L-E-S.
Oh man, I saw that video. I was laughing my ass off.
E-L-G-E-S, Eagles. It's like, okay, there we go. And another one.
No,
yes,
when I
Eagles,
like when I look at that one, even though
-4.5.
they're in Tampa, I think Eagles are a better team than what Tampa has.
too.
Baker Mayfield, there's nothing been impressive about that offense, and the defense is definitely the better part of that whole team. But can it make up for what the offense lacks? It's so far so good. I mean, it has been doing that, but I think at some point these teams that are playoff type of teams are going to give them trouble, and they just really won't be able to hang. Again,
God, after the 40 people in the chat,
is
thank
it one
you
of
so
those?
much.
Is it one of those things though that Hurts starts doing his thing where at the end, they're trying to run him, or are they going to give Swift the
Everybody's
ball
going
more?
nuts, Angelica. Everybody's going nuts.
Because last week we talked about it. We talked about the week before. Hey, man, you got to get the ball out of your quarterback's hands. If you're going to run the ball, give it to your running back. And look what ended up happening. 175 yards. He just destroyed it. Yeah, that's what you should. This is your recipe that you should be doing.
Agent Zero had a good game. Yes, he did.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I have to go with Philadelphia on this one. And I would probably put him up by at least a touchdown.
Yeah, I think this is where Baker comes back to earth. It'll be a fun game to watch. I know me and Phil are going to have our show. It's basically going to be at the beginning of the game, I guess. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out unless we go on an hour earlier, but
oh yeah, I guess
that's up to you.
Yeah,
because the game starts at 7:15. Mark will be streaming it.
Well,
Maybe
we'll go
on
to
at
7
6 o'clock, or maybe we go on at 7. That's up to you. I'm good either way, but I think the Eagles win. I think they're tired of hearing that they're not playing well, they're this or that. I don't think Tampa's that good of a team to be 3-0.
No.
Nobody saw this coming.
I don't even think they're good enough to be 2-0. I honestly.
Yeah, his carriage turns back into a pumpkin, and I think this is on national TV. I think they lose by double digits. Right. If I had to pick, that doesn't mean people in the chat that I'm rooting for the Eagles. I'm just being honest. Yeah. I have to call it the way I see it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to tell you. So the line's coming down. That helps the better. You're give me the Eagles minus the points.
And so the last one we got before we go back to the Cowboys game, we got the Rams against the Bengals. Is this a time where the Bengals snap out of their little bitty coma that they're in? I don't know, the Super Bowl coma that they've had for the past year or so.
Yeah, I actually love the Bengals in this game. I think Joe Burrow in the spotlight at home on Monday night. Everybody's telling them that they stink. They got way too much talent to get out to the start that they're doing. I think the Rams are a really good coached football team, but they're not going into Cincinnati on Monday Night Football. Joe Burrow, he's a great quarterback. I don't care. He's banged up a little with the calf injury. We saw that with Dak last year. I expect Cincinnati minus the 2.5 to get the job done. To me, that's easy money at home as a favorite.
Yeah, I would go with Cincinnati as well.
2.5, and you go with Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, you're at home Monday
Run
night.
it to
Everybody's
the window, baby.
Everybody's kind of, the eyes are on you. They're watching. I definitely think this could be a thing that wakes him up, and they could definitely show the nation, hey man, we're back again. It takes them a while. I mean, Bengals every single year, it takes them a little bit of time to kind of start rolling, and they're a threat usually by the end of it. But the times that they have struggled, it has been very, very ugly. So you wonder if this team is deteriorating, and instead of getting better as they go each year, it just seems to be going the opposite way. So you wonder, will they be able to get out, or is this the team that we're going to be looking at this year? That's always a question. Yeah. I just wouldn't bet against Joe Burrow being that way all the time. So I would be with you. I think the Bengals pull it off. But again, the Rams have been, he loses Cup, right? And then he already found another wide receiver that he's just throwing every single ball.
But he's questionable.
But he was questionable last week, So
I know.
He finds that one guy and he loves to throw it there. So, don't expect him to just roll over as well too, because of course that defense, Aaron Donald. But yeah, I definitely would take the Bengals.
Felix Rojas says, I'm all about the Cowboys, but I just don't think the Eagles are playing like last year. Go Cowboys. Felix, I couldn't agree more. They are not last year's team, and that's what I told you. Each year is different. I'm just saying in a one-game situation, if I had to pick it, which I would never pick the Eagles in a game unless my life depended on it, I would stay away from it. But if I had to pick, that's what we're doing. We're going over each game. But, yeah, they're not the same team, Felix. But yeah, man, I'm just it's very miserable weather here, Phil. Looks like it's gonna rain all day again tomorrow. I have to go out and do some errands in the morning. Not looking forward to it, but it's something I gotta do. But I will be home to watch the 1 o'clock, and we'll be ready to roll for the 425
about
showdown
4:15
between the Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals. Have you thought about anything that we talked about for tomorrow regarding super chats, man? Are we doing the drinking thing? No,
I mean,
no.
I got.
I thought that was funny. That could be fun. I don't know about tomorrow.
Dollars dropping on my ass tonight. Shut up and take my money.
I got that. So I got something. I'm getting slowly but surely things together. But yeah, so. I think in general we gotta be drinking, because by the end of the broadcast it's going to get very interesting. Tom Downey over there.
We got. Yeah. I mean, we'll have to decide.
I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against it, man.
Angelica, I'm sure. Maybe she watches chat sports. You know how they do the.
Yeah, she has to help us out with the ideas.
As a beer chug, maybe a $10 super chat.
I'm not the young man like I used to.
Maybe a $20 is. A shotgun, a beer chug, and a shot, but it can only be one person doing it. 420, or I can't do that.
Insert cash or select payment type.
I was gonna go to work, but then I got high.
Shut up and take my money.
It's miserable now for me. My Bucks stinking it up.
Yeah, Milwaukee. Yeah, not looking as so good right now. But again, man, that's a long season. But it's the way you start building those rosters, man. Even my team, like the decision making hasn't been the greatest. So I mean, that's why when my college teams win, I have to enjoy it, man. Just like you were saying, you were telling people, hey, enjoy when your team is winning, because we don't know what the future holds. Of course, Diggs being out, this is something we were talking about. Enjoy the moment, because you never know what's going to happen, especially with injuries. The NFL, you know how it is. We hit each other. It's a physical sport. And it just sucks that this stuff happens on practice. And, Brian's
not
all
a
like,
game.
what?
Not a game. Not the game that we love. We talking about practice, Phil. That's the part that ticked me off, and I'm going to get to that before we make our pick. But that's
go ahead, do it, man. Say it. Tell me. It's practice. It's one of those things. Tyler Biadasz goes to practice. Now you got Tyron Smith on the whole thing between practice. It's just like what? It's like, you know what? I figured it out. Is this the number? And the reason why nobody's talking about it is because the number one rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. You just blame it on the injury report.
You don't talk about Fight Club. Well, listen, man. I love the line.
Take a knee out.
$2. Save it for tomorrow, Angelica. Save it for tomorrow.
Insert
Thank
cash
you so much.
or select payment
Thank you
type.
so much.
Here comes the money.
Dollars dropping on my ass tonight. Shut up and take my money.
I'm telling you, I love it. I'm gonna come up with some more. I'm definitely getting.
Well, I like that
it.
money.
Like I need to put it in there, but I had to short it and kind of change the pitch just so they don't jump in on that. But thank you very much. I appreciate you guys' support. This It's a different world than what I came. I mean, I remember when we did our first video and everything, and just the broadcast that we've been able to do now, and just the work that we're able to talk about, and with these Cowboys.
Well,
and
Glimmer, man. Yeah, I agree, man. Go ahead, Phil. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what the fuck are they doing in practice? Exactly. It's just.
Well, listen, man, and now I want Phil to finish his thought first, and then I'll get to my point. Before.
Well, I think about our channel. I think about you're right now you're hitting at 600. You got 600 subscribers. Definitely kicking butt. Doing your lunch chats. Bryan doing his thing. We're out there. We're talking about the NFL draft, of course, next year, which we did this year in Detroit. So it's like, man, we're it's out there. We're thinking about things, about giveaways. It just. I love it because I didn't think this was going to happen until 6 or 7 years, and so I appreciate
what
this
made my
amazing
day was going to MetLife, and where I was sitting, there was Cowboy fans, and somebody actually knew who I was. So it was fun.
It's cool.
It was cool. I gave them, I gave out a bunch of business cards. I don't know if that's who's. I'll see names on my lunch chat, or I'll see names in here. Maybe I don't know, but it was cool. But getting back to practice, Phil, I got to get this off my chest. Now, listen, anybody, because I had fans come at me pretty hard saying, "Have you ever played a competitive sport?" Yeah, I was on record saying I was being emotional. Diggs was doing what we call a one-on-one drill, okay, and Phil knows. These are very, very important drills that you must do. Anybody that plays at a high level, you have to have one-on-one drills. It's basically one-on-one drill. It's easy what it says, but you can't do this drill without a defender, because you won't get the reaction from the receiver from the quarterback perspective. The quarterback drops back, the D-back will play a certain coverage, and then you have to get on the same page where, okay, if the D-back does that, my receiver's going to do this. And that's why the one-on-one drills are a staple. You have to do the one-on-one drill. And everybody, the injury happened on grass. So all these people who think, it's turf, it happened on grass. It happened on the grass field. It was a freak injury. I'm not going to blame practice. But that being said, even Jerry Jones came out and questioned maybe looking at a few things. And he brought Al Davis up for years saying, I'm paying all this money for these guys and I'm coming out to practice and you guys are going at it way too hard. Yeah. Now, all I would tell you is you see injury after injury happening in practice. We see Tyron getting hurt today or yesterday in practice. Tyler Biotish.
It just reminds me of every given Sunday. They're like,
it goes on and on, Phil.
Yeah, they're like, hey, so-and-so is injured. He's like, what, did he fall off the bench? It's like
it's just frustrating, dude. I could deal with it. I'm not going to like it any better if it happened in a game. But, we're bubble wrapping everybody in the preseason, right? We're bubble wrapping everybody. But, we're going to go all out in practice. Not the Diggs one. Because Diggs, it was a one-on-one drill. You have to do that drill. You have to. It helps the quarterback. It helps the receiver. It helps the
corner. Yep.
And that's just how it works, man. That when I found out it was the one-on-one drills, I was like, it's just weird, man.
These are things that just happen.
Sometimes it just happens. Yeah. Exactly. The good thing about it is it happened early. He'll be ready to go for training camp. And he'll be back to his normal self.
It's a complete tear, it's a lot better of a heel on it. So I mean, I'm excited about it. You brought it up, and I know you were going to talk about it. Getting a guy like Stephon Gilmore here for next couple of years, maybe like next 2 to 3 years. I mean, there's nothing on his game that doesn't make me say that I don't want a guy like that, especially with the talent that we've had and the experience that he can bring. I mean, you're already seeing these guys do things and read routes that maybe they wouldn't have done it before. I mean, you even got safeties, dropping on these routes, and just because they're seeing body language, and then you see the improvement of the wide receivers, because again, he is also telling the wide receiver, hey man, you're giving the a clue of where you're going by doing this, and So you don't think that the wide receivers is also cleaned up their stuff? I mean, it kind of reminds you of the whole Parsons and Andrew Whitworth. Is, hey, how do you get better as a defense? Well, let me go and train with a guy that's been an all-pro on the other side, Super Bowl champ, and see how I can improve. What's the scary part when you're looking at as an lineman? I mean, what? Parsons not scary enough? Well, what can I do other than my intimidating roar of a lion can I do to kind of just destroy teams?
That's a good drop. I'm writing down drop ideas. Lion roar.
Ooh, there you go.
I like that. That's good, man.
What was that?
But yeah, man. So all right, let's get to our pick. Everybody's anxiously awaiting the pick. I will start it off. The Cowboys. The line is fluctuating. I see plus 13. I see plus 12. We're gonna go in the middle. There's a few. 12.5. Arizona is a 12.5 point home underdog against our Dallas Cowboys football team. Angelica is already on the board.
I like it. 45-17.
With me and Angelica, we're thinking along the same lines. But Phil, the man, the myth, what do you got?
So I think this offense can definitely find a lot of success. Whether it's the running game, our Pollard going down the middle, Deuce Vaughn, Rico. I think you can have success with any of these guys. These wide receivers should be able to just honestly have their way with this secondary. With Budda Baker out, that is an intimidating force, and even this team is not going to be scared of it. It changes, when you look at a guy like people like Bob Sanders for the Colts, that defense was different when Bob Sanders was not in the lineup.
Brian,
and so you look at this you look at this defense, and they're not the same when Baker is not in there. The running game is not the same. So I expect our offense to really find a lot of success. It's just whether do we get in our own way. This is what's the difference between Cowboys. This is what you're proving to fans. Are you different from previous years? Because can you put away the teams that you're supposed to? Yes, you can. Can you compete against teams that are better? But can you put away the teams that are supposed to? And I think it all starts with this defense. The defense is pissed, man. This defense is freaking pissed. And Dobbs, I think, will find some success. He's a running quarterback. I mean, the lucky shots, I think it's going to be more methodically here and there, where all of a sudden they'll put a drive together and get something out of it. And I see that a couple of times maybe, but my score for the Dallas Cowboys is 34-14. I think yeah, Arizona does get lucky on a couple of things. And I think Connor is going to give us some. James Conner is going to give us some problems, just because he's a tough runner, and this scheme goes perfectly with what our weakness is. So unless Dan Quinn changes that, you should see some success and some stumbling success by Dobbs. So again, my score 34-14, of course, the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow, we're not far apart, Phil. This is 3 games in a row that we're pretty close. Let me shout out some scores real quick. I said Angelica's at 45-17. Coyote has 34-10. Birds, I could see it closer. He could see 27-13. So he's kind of couching it. He can't just pick a score.
He's gonna poke at you. He's gonna poke at you.
Angelica, I had it 42-20. Boys, we're not gonna even add the other word. Mark Hutchin, 36-10 Cowboys. Eesh, this is let me see, yeah, come on. I need more scores.
30-7 Cowboys.
I need more
like
scores from every. Lady Libra checks in with 30-7 Cowboys. I really like that score, Libra. You know the Cowboys. The Cowboys are always going to give up a stupid score somewhere along the line.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to happen either on the first drive of the game. If they don't score on the first drive of the game, I don't think they score a touchdown. How's that? I'm just going to say. Okay. I'm going to say they get lucky or something. Something's going to happen, a long pass interference call, and then they'll score on some stupid play. But the final.
Nope. See, I don't have a drum roll. I need to get a drum roll.
Well, you had one last.
So I got to roll.
You deleted it. So what was your score there, Phil?
I had 34-14, and that was just
okay. All right. Well, we're gonna go with a -12 because that's the line. It's all over the place. Doesn't matter. They're gonna cover the 12.5 anyway. Cowboys win this game. It's It may be handshakes at halftime. I don't know. I would imagine it would be. I don't think it's really close at halftime. I think we're up double digits at halftime. My score, it's very similar to prime times. I think that we give up a lazy touchdown and a couple field goals. I have the Cowboys 34, the Cardinals 13.
That was my
So I got
original.
Cowboys minus 12, and the bet of the week is over 43.5. That's
Okay.
the bet
Yeah.
that you want to go with. I love the over in the game. I think Dallas is going to score possibly 40 points. I just think they're going to roll offensively tomorrow. They're all going to play with a big time emotion for Trevon. I just think they're going to roll tomorrow. Are they going to have times in the game where their defense may give up plays? Yeah, I'm sure they will. Josh Dobbs can run. So I'll be curious to see how we play that. But Brooklyn Joe's got 37-20. It's a lot of points to give up, though, Brooklyn Joe. I hope it's a lot of late BS points that we don't
Could be
care
like
about. But
trying to get your second.
Don't want to give up anything, Phil. So I don't see that.
Yeah, they're gonna be. That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping they. You see it. I mean, we talked about it in the first game. Okay, how are they going to come out against New York? You still, that scripted plays. Those are usually successful plays. So I'm expecting something, and then all of a sudden they just kind of D-Law does his thing. Parsons comes out of nowhere. It's like it's there. It's living up to the hype. And of course, the guys have been talking about it inside the chat. But the game plan, of course, in the practice, let's double, triple team Parsons because this is what he needs to get used to. He's got to get his body used to this because this is what's going to happen. But as long as you're supporting role players, and I say that because is D-Law a supporting role player? Is Osa Odighizuwa a supporting role player? No. These guys can wreak havoc on their own. They're just not doing it at. Really, anybody. Come on, nobody's doing it at Parsons level, and that's the part that we talk about with the crackback blocks.
We're going to dominate on the defensive line. Their offensive line is suspect.
I can see where they can have success. Again, we talked about their edge running, but I think we can clamp down on it.
I love Connor. You're right. You're right on Connor. I love him, and especially to the edge.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. We got some more scores coming in. We got Glimmerman with the 37-13 because of our injuries. Otherwise, he'd get 6. And that was probably they spotted him 6 in the beginning of the game, and then that was like, we're going to spot you a touchdown, So we got Regina saying 35-10. I'm hoping Cowboys. Jack Meeker 42-16. Nice. That's a score.
I could see 40,
score.
Jack. I really can. I didn't go because honestly, I went with that score based on our offensive line and probably not having multiple guys.
You know what I thought? I thought I brought it back down from 40 just because of the situational football that McCarthy likes to now run.
That as well. That's,
you can't blow them up 40, 50 points or whatever, but it's, we need to get out of here with the least amount of injuries and just with the victory. I think, even
and
you just
don't
want
forget, McCarthy is Mr. I don't want to show anything. That's just how he is.
Well, if you look last week, so many times, Glimmerman was talking so many times how you just pull that ball. Like, I think they were really setting something up for another team. They're setting things up. Everything that they're doing is setting up another play. It's just, do you need to run them?
And you want to save stuff for the following week because you know who you're playing. You're playing Bill Parcells, which is arguably one of the best defensive minds ever to coach a football team. He's that good of a defensive coordinator. So you want to keep stuff in your bag to be able to bring out against a Bill Belichick-led team. So, that's why I just kept it into the 30s. I really think Dak's going to throw 4 touchdowns tomorrow. I really do. So that's... at least I think he's going to have a huge game.
And it's all capable. I think I love the matchup the tight ends are going to perform. So, I love our tight ends. Again, all 3 of them could have scored last week if Hendershot just takes that cut instead of running it all the way to the edge.
He scores easy. He falls in the end zone.
Obviously the execution, but people like to point out, well, he didn't do it because of execution like Kellen Moore. Well, no, it's a different thing, man. He could have 2 spots there. He could have walked in on. He decided to go around. There's a difference there. Kellen Moore's aren't open. Those guys weren't open majority of the times because we knew man, they were sitting on, even in the beginning of our preseason, man, they were sitting on those curl routes, even though this wasn't the same team. So, yeah, I expect some really good things, and of course, we're going to bring it to you. We're going to be back tomorrow at 4:15, probably most likely right before the game, to just talk about it, man. You know, I'm ready. I'm excited. Just Cowboy football, you know,
we got to enjoy it, people. It'll be here and gone before we know it. Let's just hope that we can stay healthy, man. Let's get through this game. I keep saying let's get through the game healthy, but it's the practices that we got to freaking worry about. That's, you know, a midday, we think we're having a great day. All of a sudden, oh my God, Diggs is on crutches.
That's hilarious.
I'm done. I'm sorry.
That was good. But anyways, yeah. So join us back tomorrow, and as we go and cover this game, and I appreciate you guys coming through, chatting with us, dropping your score, letting us know if you're watching on the replay. Let us know what you think is going to happen within the game. You know, try to get in there before the game. That way, it doesn't look like you're just, oh yeah, I predicted it. But you know, hey, football, man. Football is in the air. It's week 3. Enjoy.
Please share this. Let's get more.
Gotta build it up.
Fans on board here.
Gotta build it up. But Brian, man, anything you want to say to the chat before we get out of here?
I would say I look forward to seeing you guys. I know Mark will be streaming. I hope you guys will hop over and visit us as well. We will see you. We're going to have some fun tomorrow. Me and Phil will talk about what we might do. Maybe we won't. I don't know. We'll see. But we might come up with something fun for some super chats tomorrow during the game. But that being said, I'm excited. It's Cowboys football. We're playing at a high level. I expect us to roll tomorrow, and I'll see everybody there, man. Go Cowboys.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody coming through the chat, keeping it back down to wholesome and everything. Even though we're rivals, man, we see each other in almost all the chats. So yeah, we're just continuation of the trash talking. But again, week 3. Excited for the Cowboys matchup this week, and let's go through there and get a W. I think that's the biggest thing that we want to see, a W for a team that you're supposed to beat. So I appreciate, again, everybody coming through. I appreciate one thing the most is not forgetting to do what?
Ring that bell, baby.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Hey, we know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do, you're like a little screw loose type of guy, and I thought that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
Gametime Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here.
Cool name. Superpowers?
Broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you going to tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil, and of course my co-host, Gametime Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000, I don't even need to hear it.